up, friends? We are back here at oddschecker.com/US talking more PGA Tour in the fall. I am Geoff Fienberg, your host for these videos. Oh, man, don't want to turn this. We don't spend much time talking about last week, but that was a tough one. In football season, I try to get over him. After a nice Chargers win, didn't think I was going to be getting a 7 p.m. Kick in the nuts, but we had a first round leader in Riley, means nothing. We had the second round leader in Detry, and we had a leader on the back nine on Sunday in Sepp Straka. Mackenzie Hughes gets a free relief. You're like 170 yards from the pin. You get free relief because there's a scoreboard by the green. Oh man. Not a good omen to start the season, I tell you, but a T2 playoff loss, Sepp, 50-1. If you hedged, that's your thing. Congratulations. I didn't. I feel like water finds its level. Nonetheless, we are here in Las Vegas, TPC Summerlin. It is a course we are very familiar with. A lot of nuance to these greens that allows for players to continually play well here. Continuously over the years, and it may require some familiarity to a certain extent. Sorry, I'm butchering the words. I guess I'm still triggered about yesterday's ending in the golf. I should not be getting triggered by October golf. But yes, we are 7,200 yards, par 71 at altitude. Like I said, of course, we're very familiar with. It's a course you got to go low. You got to go low, mad low. They've tried to take away bomb and gouge here by just adding a ton of bunkers into some of those areas and make them far more penal, and the bomb and gouge strategy far less advantageous. I don't know that it has worked. The last 3 years, a winning score of 21 under, I believe, by Bryson. Then it was topped at 23 under by Martin Laird and, it's escaping me now. Martin Laird and someone else was at 23 under. And then last year it was Sung Jae Im at 24 under. So you got to go low here. That's the name of the game. Cantley, he's the king of this place. As I check out the OddsChecker grid, which has already done me favors this morning, but I'm going to bring it out here on my mobile device. Cantley, Sung Jae Im, Max Homa, the only players under 20-1. If Cantley's in form, you better watch out. If you've got to bet on anybody at a number you like, and Cantley's around, you can't enjoy it because you're just going to assume he's going to take this thing down. His first ever career win was here. He's never finished outside of the top 10. He really loves this place. I really like Sung Jae Im. The best number I see right now is FanDuel, 16-1. It is tempting. It's a number that I haven't moved in on yet. I don't know that I will get there because there's some of that back of the pack that I don't mind, or middle of the pack. Well, second tier doesn't really exist, and I don't know. I will probably regret this, but Im over Homa for me if I'm betting someone under 20-1 at 750. Patrick Cantley would be a stay away. The only player in the 20s is Tom Kim. So that entire tier is missing, and I don't mind Tom Kim one bit. There were some 28s, some 30-1s out of the chute. I don't really see that they're still around, but I think Tom Kim, despite me saying this course is nuance on the greens, I don't think this kid requires nuance. I adore him. He reminds me, Patrick Cantley, there are filing cabinets that have more personality than Patrick Cantley. But Tom Kim's like golf game really reminds me of Patrick Cantley. So in some ways, if he dominates this place like Cantley does, that wouldn't shock me one bit. I don't mind Tom Kim. I'd hope for better numbers. Aaron Wise starts us in the 30s. A player who should fit this place nicely. And that brings me to the first bet I have made this week. Taylor Montgomery at 40-1, the UNLV grad. We played the home course narrative last week in Davis Riley. We got in on the party. We were excited early. Congrats if anyone actually hit the first round leader. That's not a market that I play. And obviously he was no Sunday hero, but we're going back to that narrative. Montgomery off a T9 at last week at the Sanderson and a T3 at the Fortinet. I'm really here for Montgomery, who's never won on the PGA Tour. I like to bet guys who don't win sometimes. This is the range that I really do like, though, when using that grid from sort of 40 to 70-1. That is this is where I think you'll see a lot of my card being built. Just a few players that I am interested in. I've not bet all these players, but Taylor Pendrith, there's a 55-1 over at Bet365. Tom Hoagie, there's a 55-1 over at DraftKings. Thomas Detry, who we were on last week, the 36-hole leader, the Belgian. You're probably going to see me invest a lot in him, but I think 66-1 is fair. We've seen him contend and not win in really crappy fields and even in Rolex series event fields in Europe. So he doesn't really, there's not a field that he won't disappoint me in, is probably the best way to put it. Even if it's a really strong field, he finds a way to have these great rounds and still not win. Winning's hard. I get it. I'm not picking on Thomas. We might lose a lot of money on Thomas this year now that he's a full-fledged PGA Tour member. 66-1. That's for me for the Belgian this week. That's probably one I am going to be in on. So yeah, those are the players that I am looking at. I like Pendrith off that not ideal of a President's Cup. And a fun little note. Since the President's Cup, we saw Ryan Fox and Mac Hughes win around the world. Man, those guys, a lot of people thought they could have, should have, maybe have been on the President's Cup team. They pop off wins. Last year, I was reminded the week after the Ryder Cup, Sam Burns won. He was a guy who was probably considered a snub. So that's got to be a thing. Maybe we got to really hone in on next year. Is the week after the Ryder Cup, who got snubbed? All the snubs, bet them. Remember it for last year. Going north of that Detry at 66-1 over at Bet Rivers. Thank you very much on the grid. There's not really a ton that has my attention. We are at a PGA, a TPC course. So TPC KH Lee, if you're into that narrative, he's over at 80-1 when using the OddsChecker grid. I don't mind a player like Matt Neesmith, but I also don't really see myself going too far down the board. It's not a, I don't know. It's not a, I'm not running. I don't know. It's not a tournament I want to invest too heavily in. I also think I'm going to get out of town this weekend, go make a drive, see my Chargers in Cleveland. That'll probably end in disappointment. And we could piggyback that with how the golf winds up. I always find when you bet golf in football season, responsibly always, sometimes those golf losses just get absorbed in what happens on the football Sunday. Would have been nice for that set winner to hit. We got to move on. We can't lament a second place this early in the season, a T2, a playoff loss. Can't lament it. Too many events ahead. I am Geoff Fienberg. This is my first look at the wow, it's too early in the season. At the Shriners Hospital Open. And you know what? On that note, I'm going to make a donation to Shriners this week. Probably even bet one less golfer. I love donating to Shriners. They do incredible work. Some of that money that I would normally put on an outright golfer, it's going into a donation for me. I always like to do that anytime. I don't know, St. Jude week, Shriners week, always puts that thought in my head, how lucky I am personally, and how lucky people who need those organizations and places, if they are met with those sorts of, if life hits them in that way and them or their kids need a place like that. It's amazing that they do exist. So I do like to contribute even in my small little way. I'm sure you'll see a lot of campaigns, guys, for every birdie. Maybe I'll add stuff on, but certainly let's never lose focus of that and always make our picks responsibly. I'm Geoff Fienberg. Let's hope for another Sunday sweat. Last weekend was fun. That was fun, even though it ended in a loss, a playoff loss. Woo! We're not lamenting it one bit. We're moving on. Totally moved on. Hit that like. I'm out.